Coming up on Q30 Newscast.
Students and faculty from the university met this afternoon for the State of the Union.
President Judy Olean and Hamden Mayor Lauren Garrett sat down to discuss a partnership between the town and university.
The Sleeping Giant entrance sign was vandalized with a political message this past Thursday. All of that and more coming up on the Q30 Newscast.
Good evening, everyone. I'm your anchor, Fiona Stevens.
And I'm Connor Court. We're excited to bring you all the latest news at Quinnipiac and the surrounding area. It is also both our first times on desk.
I'm happy to be here, but we have a lot to get through, so let's get into it. The Student Government Association hosted the State of the Union earlier today at 4 p.m. with speakers President Olean, Provost Deborah Leibowitz, and Chief Experience Officer Tom Ellett, amongst other administrators. Ben Kane listened to Quinnipiac leadership address students' questions about the university's future.
Quinnipiac's administration were present at the Mount Carmel Auditorium to answer students' concerns and questions for the annual State of the Union. They addressed different topics ranging from parking to future projects. More than 20 questions were asked and answered by this panel, but many of them seem to relate to the same few concerns.
Go online to any student newspaper, any college university. What are the three main problems that students complain about? Parking, dining, and course registration. And I am blessed to work with all three with you to help resolve them.
President Julie Olean was very supportive of Chief Experience Officer Tom Ellett's presence on campus and also provided insight into potential updates to COVID regulations.
The mayor of Hampton said, I'm not going to just list it, I'm going to go by the data. And when we get to a level of 14 per 100,000 cases of COVID, we're currently at 40, but it's dropping. That she will lift the mandate.
Quinnipiac Student Government Association hosted the event and we're glad to facilitate communication between students and administrators.
It's always good to hear from administrators because they're always like one level removed from students, so it's always good to kind of bring students together with these higher up administrators and just have conversations.
SGA President Nick Champanelli also wishes that a wider range of topics could have been discussed at this panel.
Just given that there was a limited time span, we couldn't get through everything. Usually, I always think it's good for them to hit on their 10-point plans, such as the DEI plan, the Indigeneity Initiative, the Sustainability Plan, and so on and so forth.
Students can also send any unanswered questions from the panel to SGA Vice President Chris Longchamp. Reporting from Q30 News, I'm Ben Kane.
Another week, another update. Let's take a look at the most recent COVID-19 data on campus. As of this past Monday, there's 22 current positive cases of COVID-19 with 24 new cases since we last brought you these numbers last week. The number of positive cases has decreased by 10 from last week's 34 new cases.
Tyler Gorman was awarded the gold for the Game Developers Conference Narrative Analysis Prize for his paper titled Little Nightmares. The Quinnipiac game design major will present his work at the Game Narrative Summit this March in San Francisco. Q30's Tim Malone talked to Tyler to discuss the award and the conference.
So I'm flying out to San Francisco to present. I have a 5-minute presentation every day. And then I have the rest of the time to go network, go to a bunch of workshops and summits.
This upcoming fall, Quinnipiac will offer a talent management program through a collaborative effort between the Schools of Business, the School of Communications, and the College of Arts and Sciences. This program will provide a business perspective into the sports, esports, and entertainment industries. Ben Kane sat down with Associate Professor and Program Director Tuvana Rua about this one-of-a-kind program.
So it is a collaboration across 3 schools, be it the School of Business, School of Com, as well as Arts and Sciences. And if anybody chooses a track of the accelerated 3+3 with the law school, then it is actually a collaboration of 4 schools. As a result of that, that is the first one and only program that represents that many schools.
On Monday, Quinnipiac President Judy Olean and Hamden Mayor Lauren Garrett sat down to discuss building a partnership between the town of Hamden and the university. Hepsar Rajan has the full story.
On Monday, President Judy Olean and Hamden Mayor Lauren Garrett spoke to students in this auditorium. Throughout the discussion, where both spoke of their leadership experiences, Garrett explained that while her role is challenging, it is fulfilling.
It's so fulfilling to
to be a role model for other people, to help people when they need it.
Olean addressed the current pandemic and how Quinnipiac had to work through the sudden circumstances.
At Quinnipiac, we are very mindful of the fact that there are really two pandemics, one of the health and disease aspects and one of mental health.
While the event was focused on women in leadership roles and how the pandemic has affected them, Garrett did touch upon a few topics surrounding the Hamden community.
We're getting about $18 million in ARPA funds, and we're going to have community meetings and get a lot of input from residents.
The school is also building a partnership with the Hamden community for future plans.
Usually the breakdown, I think, happens when you're not communicating, and also being really honest about our intention.
Mayor Garrett felt that the most important part to building this relationship is communication.
We're building a very strong partnership as we move forward with our plans around the expansion of our buildings, the 3 new projects, all kinds of other ways in which our faculty, staff, and students are involved in the community.
Students can now look out for more projects in partnership with the local community. Reporting for Q30 News, I'm Hepzibah Raja.
The welcome entrance sign to State Park Sleeping Giant has been vandalized late Thursday night. The sign was spray painted with a political message reading, Habamak, you are a native land. Park Ranger Jill Scheimenflug, the person who made the original sign, says they took the sign down earlier this week.
You work in parks, you're not interested in their political statements. All you see is vandalism. And with this particular sign, because it's Sleeping Giant, I found that more people were upset about it than they were, oh, look, people are aware of this. No, as soon as you ruin the sign, your political statement was kind of...
Don't go anywhere. When we come back from the break, the town of Hamden received millions of dollars for traffic light upgrades.
A gun manufacturer is also being held liable for a mass shooting at Sandy Hook after nearly 10 years from the original incident.
COVID-19 vaccines in New Haven have also been called into question by the city after being improperly stored. We will be back right after this break.
When we adopt a shelter pet, we discover they're a unique mix of all kinds of things.
Come on, Drew, spot on this last one. There it is. Keep going with it. Leo.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Thank you for sticking with us. The town of Hamden was given $3.8 million in federal funds that will go towards updating substandard and antiquated traffic signal equipment. The funds are a part of $24 million in federal money awarded by the Connecticut Department of Transportation to 10 projects aimed toward improving air quality in the state. The funds will be distributed to municipalities to support local projects, including installation of electric vehicles charging stations. Department of Transportation Commissioner Joseph Giletti said to the press that the projects represent the future. The city of New Haven was improperly stored COVID-19 vaccines, leading to the city to ask the 650 people who were impacted by the mistake to get revaccinated as soon as possible and will be contacted by the health department directly. Mayor Justin Elicker says, quote, "The shot won't hurt you, it's just a question of whether it's doing its job or not." The city said it's given out more than 20,000 doses before the recent storage problem. They say that no other doses were impacted. But New Haven has asked the State Department of Health to conduct a review of the city's policies and procedures related to vaccine shortage.
After 10 years, the mass shooting at Sandy Hook Elementary is back in the news, along with the situation in Ukraine. Here with the full story is Tim Malone. Tim, take it away.
Thank you, Connor and Fiona, for this week's national update. Let's take a look at the situation over in Ukraine. Russian troops have seemingly pulled back from the Ukrainian border. However, President Biden is not convinced by this action. The NATO Secretary General says that there is no sign that Russia plans to de-escalate. Biden addressed the nation yesterday afternoon, saying the U.S. is ready to respond to a Russian invasion. Also, the U.S. Embassy based in the Ukrainian capital, Kiev, has been moved to a safer location in the city Lviv. The threat of an invasion also has financial markets on edge. Analysts fear that a Russian invasion of Ukraine could send oil and gas prices skyrocketing within the U.S. In other news, a historic settlement, a gun manufacturer, for the first time is being held liable for a mass shooting. Nearly 10 years after the Sandy Hook mass shooting in Newtown, Connecticut, the families of 9 victims have reached a $73 million settlement with Remington, the maker of the rifle used in the attack. Attorneys representing the families were able to navigate around a federal law designed to protect gun companies from litigation, arguing that Remington chose profit over safety and deliberately marketed the AR-15 to troubled young men. Remington also agreed to make all of its marketing materials public as part of the settlement. That's all for this week's national news. Back to you guys at the desk.
We will take our last break of the night, but do not go anywhere.
We will be heading up the road to the People's United Center, where the men's and women's basketball were both in action, while having 2 different results inside the Lender Court.
The Quinnipiac dance team has also resumed action after a stellar performance over winter break in Florida. Stick with us.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfies, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's put a ride home.
Multiple studies have shown that marijuana can slow both driver reaction and response time, which can be really dangerous. He's here. He's here.
Wait.
What?
I can't drive.
Why?
My.
Oh.
Welcome back.
Both the women's and men's basketball team are both in action over the weekend. In studio, we have Paul Sakara, for joining us. Paul, what happened in Quinnipiac sports?
Thank you, Connor and Fiona. For this week's Quinnipiac Sports Update, let's head to the People's United Center, where on Sunday, the men's basketball team battled the Manhattan Jaspers. The Bobcats entered Sunday having lost 3 of their last 4 games, needing a win in hopes of finishing the final stretch of games strong. At the end of the first half, the score was close as Manhattan was leading 42-36. However, in the second half, the Jaspers came out shooting well and playing with energy, and it showed, going on a 14-2 run for nearly 7 minutes. Quinnipiac was unable to match Manhattan's offensive efficiency during the contest, as the Bobcats will look to rebound against Marist in Poughkeepsie on Sunday. Now let's talk about the other team who played over the weekend on Saturday. The women's basketball team battled the Iona Gales. The Bobcats entered Saturday hot, having won 6 of their last 7 games at the end of the first half. Quinnipiac produced video game type numbers, leading Iona by a score of 43-14 in the second half. The Bobcats continued playing well, but not at the level in which they did earlier in the game. The Bobcats claimed victory over the Gaels 78-49. Quinnipiac had 46 rebounds compared to Iona's 23. Quinnipiac will look to continue their hot surge when they go against the current 1-seeded Fairfield Stags on Thursday.
Quinnipiac's club dance team has been waiting patiently to compete throughout the pandemic and came out on top over winter break. Here's Katie Cohen with more.
Quinnipiac club dance team recently placed at a national competition in Florida, but it all started right here in this dance studio on campus. The dance team was established in 2019 when club sports made a return at Quinnipiac University. Little did they know they would grow at a steady increase, even with the struggles throughout the pandemic.
It is absolutely amazing to see how the team has evolved since we first started, going from a team of 14, and then I think it was 22 last year, to a team of 20 this year, and the talent and just the increase in drive and passion has been absolutely insane.
The goal from the beginning was to compete in a national competition, and it finally happened after years of waiting.
So we attended UDA National Dance Championships in Orlando, Florida, and we practiced, I would say we learned our routine beginning of November, and we practiced extensively up until the very last day we were here.
And the trip was a success. The team placed 6th in their game day routine and 11th in the Division I jazz category.
Heard out we made it to finals. I started crying immediately. It was just like such an exciting, like we'd worked so hard and it was something we weren't expecting. We had just gone in with the expectation to do our best and to see where that led us and to get our name on the map at like UDA. But to actually hear our name and know that our hard work paid off was really, really exciting.
The team is ready to go back to nationals next year to exceed their expectations yet again.
I know that Quinnipiac University one day will be at the top, and I'm so excited to just continue to watch the team evolve and also be working with the university to be bringing more spirit to our school.
For Q30 News, this is Katie Cohen.
Thanks, Katie, for the great story. Now, before we head out of here, I did want to apologize to Paul, our sports guy. I completely butchered his name. But how about that dance team? They've been playing extremely well. They've only started for about 3 years. What are your thoughts about that?
I think head coach Kaylee Zaletta has really something to be proud of, right? They've come back, especially with this pandemic that hit them down in the very beginning, and to come out on top in competition over winter break is truly an amazing triumph, and they have every reason to be proud of what they're doing because it truly shows kind of that Quinnipiac spirit.
Yeah, I've been following them a lot on social media, especially during that winter break, and it was cool to see that they were ranked 6th and 11th in the nation. It was some great stuff by that. And from that analysis, you could be working on Bobcat Breakdown anytime soon.
We'll
see. Maybe we'll find her on Tuesday nights. That is all the time we have for you tonight.
All right. Make sure to visit our website at q30.com and on Twitter at Q30 News.
For the producers, everyone behind the scenes, and all of our talent, I'm Connor Core.
And I'm Fiona Stevens. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you next week.